Let's get into the roadmap of becoming a data scientist in 2026. Before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss our upcoming videos. And let me just quickly tell you what exactly we're going to cover in this particular video. We'll be starting off with what is data science, understanding that, and who is a data scientist, what does a data scientist do, what are the skill sets of a data scientist, and also the salary range of a data scientist. And finally, we'll be looking into the roadmap of how to become a data scientist in 2026, or you can just follow it right away. Right? So that will be the last part of the video. If you want to learn all of this, go through the entire video to understand what is data science, look into the skill sets, the salary range, and finally the roadmap. Now let's get started with the first slide. So as I already mentioned, according to World Economic Forum, these many jobs are going to get added by 2026, in which India is a major factor. Now, in fact, India saw 45% rise in demand for data science professionals just in the past year. Despite the rising demand, 93 positions still remain vacant, showing a massive skill gap. So this is basically pretty apparent. There are jobs available in this particular skill set. So if you are equipped in this skill set and if you're a good data scientist, there are enough job openings that you can apply for and get in. These are some statistics that I wanted to show before we get into the video. Moving on, let's understand what is data science. To understand that, we need to know what is data. So approximately 400.74 million terabytes of data are created every single day. And this particular year, it's estimated that by the end of the year, 181 zettabytes of data will be generated. And also, in that 181 zettabytes, about 50% or 53% is just video. Because of social media, video consumption has skyrocketed, and that has increased the amount of data getting generated every single day. And also, obviously, it's going to increase every single year, right? So now there is a lot of data getting generated, but what can we do with it? To understand that, the science of understanding data is what data science is, right? So in data science, there is business requirements, data acquisition, data processing, data exploration, modeling, and deployment. So first you understand the business requirements. For example, your company has some data and has a particular problem to solve using that particular data. So let's say there is a lot of data, it will be unstructured. You can't understand anything out of it. But when you structure it, clean it, and you process it, explore that data and create a model out of it so that you can get some insights. So once you get that insights, now with that insights, you can figure out how to solve that particular problem statement that was given. You can understand what exactly is causing that particular problem and accordingly create or provide a solution, right? This is pretty much what data science does. We'll look into this a little bit more. So data can be defined as raw information that can be captured, stored, and analyzed. So anything that can be captured, that is video, audio, text can be captured. So all of these are different types of data. And now if you can also analyze that data, right? So data is meaningless until it is converted into meaningful information. If you have a lot of text files, or for example, let's say you have an interview prep company and a lot of people submit their resumes to you for review. So now you have millions of resumes available at your expense. If you just have that many resumes simply lying down, that is of no use to you or even the end user. But if you can take all of those resumes and identify valuable insights of how certain candidates were able to get into certain job roles using certain ways of writing a resume, with that, you can provide feedback to other users that are getting into your website to help them get better jobs, right? So this is how you will use data. Now, it is obviously meaningless if it does. So data is basically meaningless if you can't convert it into something meaningful or useful for the company. So data science helps organizations analyze large amounts of structured and unstructured data and identify hidden patterns to extract actionable insights. So this is a lot of tech jargon. To put it simply, companies just take the data, it's unstructured, then they structure it. So it can be structured data as well. That is data in a database, relational database is structured. And then there is unstructured data. There is a lot of text files, audio files, videos. You get all of this data. Now using this, within this data, you find some patterns, and using those patterns, you provide an insight to the stakeholders of the company who can use that insight to build something better or solve a problem statement. So this is all what data science is. Now let's look at what a data scientist does. So their objective is to solve business problems using data. That's pretty much what they do. But Within that, there are a lot of things. Data handling. You collect data from different sources, you process it, you analyze those large amounts of structured and unstructured data. There is also one more job role, that is data engineer, who basically does all of this, but depends on the company. If your company expects you to, if it's a small company, they will also expect you to learn and know these things. If it's a bigger company, they will have separate departments who clean and send data, and then data scientists or analysts use that data to provide insights, right? And then methods used, statistics, machine learning, and other scientific techniques too. And in the current era, there are a lot of AI tools that you can use as well. And finally, the outcome is to derive insights to guide and improve business decisions, right? So data science is basically a combination of multiple things. There's a bit of computer science because you need to learn a bit of coding. You need to learn Python. You need to learn how to use certain Python libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Seaborn, Matplotlib. There are libraries for data manipulation. There are libraries for visualization and more, right? So you need to learn that, and also mathematics. To put it simply, this is what a data scientist does. And as a data scientist, you need domain expertise. For example, let's say you're working in a health company. You need to understand how that company works. You need to understand their business. Similarly, if you're in a sports company, you need to understand how their business works. Whatever company you're in, you need to be an expert in that particular domain for you to even understand what data is coming in, and you can provide that insight after you do your analysis, right? So you need domain expertise. Then you need computer science fundamentals. That is, you need to learn Python as a programming language or R programming language. Using that, you can, for example, you need to learn Python libraries like NumPy, Pandas. Probably for machine learning, you might have to learn TensorFlow and all. In case you want to visualize data, you need to learn Seaborn, Matplotlib. So there are a lot of libraries that you can learn. So obviously you need to learn that as well. And then this side, you see there is mathematics. So without mathematics, you can't do anything in data science. So you need to be good in math and also statistics. So in between all of this, you can see there is statistical research. You need to understand statistics. Without statistics, you can't pretty much exist in data science, or you can't become a data scientist. And in between mathematics and computer science, there is machine learning. So as a data scientist, you will also need to learn ML concepts, you need to learn some algorithms, and then finally data processing. Even though if there is a data engineering team that is providing you the cleaned up data, in case there is something missing, you should be able to point it out and get better work out of them. For that, you need to understand data processing, you need to understand data cleaning, right? Not just manipulating part. Let's look at a bit more detail on what exactly a data scientist does. Your CEO might have a particular business problem that he could tell you or she could tell you. And accordingly, you will have to figure out a way to use data that the company has to provide an insight to get that problem solved, right? Collect and prepare data. So you source data from various sources, you clean it and pre-process the structured and unstructured data together so that you can start with the analysis part. And then explore and engineer features. So then you perform EDA, identify patterns, and create meaningful variables with that prepared data that you've already done. And after that, once you have these patterns, when you have a little bit more clarity on what this data is, then you build, evaluate, and deploy models that could help. So you can develop machine learning models, you can validate the performance, and also you can integrate these machine learning models that are currently running into your production, which can do things while your company is running, right? For example, if a machine learning model could solve a particular problem within your company's application, then you can simply deploy it and run it, right? So every time a particular user uses that particular feature, this ML model runs in the back and then gives back that solution. Now, finally, communicate and collaborate. Share insights with stakeholders and stay updated with new techniques. The main part is sharing this insight that you have gotten. For example, you would have gotten an insight by analyzing the data, right? But you will have to present this insight to your stakeholders who don't have technical understanding. So to do that, you would need really good communication skills and a way to collaborate, right? So this is important. These are the 5 different things. To put it very simply, there is a lot more to what a data scientist does, but this is the simplified version of it. And if you're someone who is interested in mathematics, statistics, and also analyzing data, then this would be the right field for you. Now, moving on to the next part, which is the skill set of data scientist. starting off with machine learning and AI. This is not something you learn immediately, but I'm starting off with this to give you an idea of what you're getting into. You will have to have a strong grasp of machine learning and AI algorithms. To name a few algorithms that are basic, there is classification, regression, linear, logistics, clustering, deep learning, natural language processing, and there are a lot more algorithms, but you can start off with classification and regression clustering. So this is more than enough. And if you're getting into deep learning, you might have to learn TensorFlow. There are more libraries as well which you can learn. And then there are mathematical foundations, not just how they work, but also the mathematical foundation behind that. For example, regression models are already available. You can use them directly just by tweaking them. But to tweak them, you need to understand how exactly a regression model works, right? And then statistics and mathematics. A solid knowledge of statistics and math is required to power models. For example, there is A/B testing, correlation, p-values, linear algebra, and calculus. Then there is programming skills. Especially in data science, you need to understand Python. You need to understand R programming. It depends on what exactly you want to do. If you want to just go with Python, you can go ahead with it. But R also helps in a lot of statistical analysis. Third is there are programming skills. You can learn Python, you can learn R, you can learn SQL. So SQL is not exactly a programming language, but learning SQL is required because you will be querying databases day in, day out. And then Python or R, or you can learn both of them. But in case you want to start off with one, just choose one and go for it. Most people choose Python because it provides a lot more opportunities, right? So you can pretty much choose which programming language that you want to learn. Next is data visualization. For this, there are various things. For example, Matplotlib and Seaborn, or Python libraries, Tableau, Power BI, or tools or dashboards that you can use. And Excel, you already know what Excel is. You can also use Excel for data visualization. But in case you're using Python, going ahead with Python libraries is much easier to visualize data. And if you already know Python, it's much easier. And Tableau or Power BI is much helpful in creating a complete dashboard to showcase the insights that you have gathered, right? And finally, big data and frameworks. Usually big data and frameworks are taken care by data engineers. They learn this, they go into the depth of big data and the Hadoop ecosystem as well. But learning the basics of this would help you as a data scientist as well. Certain companies might not have a data engineer dedicated to give you clean data all the time. In case if it is dependent on you to process that data as well, learning basic tools which can handle large scale data like Apache Spark or Hadoop as a start would help you, right? So these are the skill sets required to become a data scientist. Now, apart from this, I've already mentioned AI and ML algorithms. Apart from this, there are a lot of AI tools right now present to help you with analysis. For example, Perplexity Labs itself does a lot of analysis if you upload certain content, right? So if you can increase your productivity by using these AI tools to do all the basic stuff for you while you look into the bigger problems, then that is going to make you an even better data scientist. So also look into AI tools and try to add that to your skill set as well, right? So this is a skill set. Now let's look at the salary range of a data scientist. I took it from two different sites to give you a basic idea. So now there is sixfigure.com. This is verified by 3,812 profiles. So this is kind of the average salary from all of these profiles. And the last updated profile probably was in September 9th of 2025, right? So now average salary is around 32 lakhs in these 3,800 profiles. And employees as data scientists average of 32 lakhs and mostly ranging from 20 to 1.3 crores, right? So this is from these 3,800 profiles. Now coming here, this is from Glassdoor, and the people who have submitted here, this is the basic trajectory that they have put. That is, as a data scientist, as a junior, or as a start, it could be much lesser. But if you get into a data scientist role immediately, you can start off with and 9 to 22 LPA per year, and then senior data scientist can make anywhere from 19 to 39, and then as a lead you get even more. So this is the basic structure for a data scientist if you're getting into this particular role, right? You can go ahead and check multiple websites on the salary ranges, but again, it'll completely depend on the company you apply for. A service-based company might pay you less, a product-based company might pay you more. Sometimes a high-growth startup might pay you even more. For example, certain fintech companies can pay you more. So choose what you want to do where you want to work, and accordingly you can prepare for it and get into those companies, right? So this is the basic idea that I wanted to give you. Who is a data scientist, what do they do, what are the skill sets, and the salary range. Now coming to the last part, which is the step-by-step roadmap to becoming job ready in data science, right? Here is a basic structure of the roadmap. Starting off with fundamentals, real projects, deep dive into ML and AI, deployment in tools, and apply and upskill simultaneously. The roadmap is again pretty much the same for whatever you want to do, whatever technical role you are in. This is the basic stages that you will go through. That is, you will first master the fundamentals of that particular role. For example, if it is in data science, you will have to master the fundamentals that is required to become a data scientist. That is learning Python, learning basic Python libraries where you can manipulate data. So that would be the start of your data science career, right? And then you build projects, you get a bit more into ML models, you try building machine learning models or maybe AI tools, you get into deployment and tools. That is creating an ML model and running it on AWS or Azure on any cloud platform. And finally, you start applying for jobs. So this is the basic roadmap. Let's start with the fundamentals part. So ignore the duration. This will again completely depend on the pace you are going through, but you can also follow the duration provided here. Take a month, learn the fundamentals, learn Python and SQL, strengthen statistics and mathematics. Obviously, if you think you're not as strong in statistics and mathematics, it'll take you a bit more time. So spend more time on those concepts, but you will be able to grasp it. So learn Python. In case you want to get into our programming language, you can check it out. But the consensus would always go towards Python because it opens up more opportunities later, right? So learn Python, learn SQL, strengthen yourself in statistics and mathematics. So this would be your task in the first 1 to 3 months. And then start building projects. Don't straight away start building projects because there is an AI that can spit out code that you can add to the tool and create a project. That won't give you any understanding of how the fundamentals work. So learn the fundamentals and then start using AI tools and build projects, right? Now, here work on projects with real data sets. There is Kaggle where you can take data sets and practice. There are so many data sets available. Choose what you want to work on and then try to solve that particular problem using an existing data set, right? Visualization, machine learning models, dashboards, work on whatever projects you want to create. Again, there is Kaggle, there are other tools that are available you can use. And then moving on to the third part, which is deep dive into machine learning and AI. At the start, you might not need to be an expert in machine learning or AI, but eventually when you get into a lead stage or get into a senior data scientist roles, then the problems will get a bit more difficult depending on the domain you are in. And if they get difficult, you would need to learn machine learning algorithms so that you can solve those problems, right? For that, you will have to look into learning advanced machine learning. You will have to learn deep learning. You'll have to learn natural language processing and also practice feature engineering and model optimization. There are a lot more concepts, but to club it all together, basically you can just look into machine learning, deep learning, NLP, and a few more concepts that are available, right? If you want to look into a bit more on what exactly you need to learn, you can simply go to scalar.com, check out the curriculum. The curriculum has pretty much the entire roadmap that you have to learn. So that is more than enough. This is more of a summarized version that I want to share with you. Now, moving on to the fourth part, which is deployment and tools. Here, now you are building ML models. Now you're in a stage where you understand machine learning, you understand AI, and now you want to build ML models that you want to host on a cloud tool. There is AWS, GCP, Azure, so you can deploy models on this cloud, and also you can explore big data frameworks now. As I mentioned, as a data scientist, big data is not the first stage that you want to look into, or it is not the fundamental for a data scientist. It is a fundamental for a data engineer. But again, learning the basics of Spark, Hadoop will help you get into companies, right? Finally, apply and upskill simultaneously. Again, this goes pretty much for any job role. For example, let's say you apply for a data scientist role. In that company, let's say they're using one particular tool that you've never heard of, but you pretty much check every other requirement that they've asked for. If you just have to figure out that particular tool or that particular skill, you can apply for that job role if you're interested. While you apply and wait for the interview, you can start upskilling yourself in that particular tool, because that is much easier than upskilling and then applying, because that opportunity might go away, right? So this is something you can do. So build a portfolio of the projects that you have built and then apply to roles. Keep learning new tools and AI advancement. There's going to be so many different AI tools that are going to pop up in the next 2-3 years. So probably 1 or 2 might become a hit within the data scientist market. So probably keep a good eye on that and try learning 1 or 2 AI tools that can improve your productivity. So that's it for today, guys. That's the roadmap of becoming a data scientist. Now, before ending this video, in case you want to learn more concepts, for example, if you want to start off with becoming a data scientist and you want to learn data science with Python, or you want to understand the difference between data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, or if you want to learn how to become a data scientist and get a job in Microsoft, we have masterclasses which are free that you can register to on skillset.com/events. So go ahead, take a look, apply for the masterclass that you want to learn from, and learn and start off your data science journey. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. Meet you in another video.